Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today on this extra special episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. Before we get into the extra special stuff, which we got to clip away to anyway, I'm recording the cold start intro ahead of time because I want to give you the week in Bryan like I always do, but I'm going to make it quick. I'm going to buzz through it for two reasons. One is, if you can tell, my voice is a little out of whack because I just got through a quick bout with the Rona. That's right. Despite my masks, despite my vaccinations and boosts, my lovely child brought home the bug, and it wiped me out for a couple of days. But that being said, I'm actually really glad that I am vaccinated and boosted, because while it sucked for a couple of days, that's really all it was. It was about 4 or 5 days of a really gnarly sickness. My voice is just now kind of getting back to where it was because I was doing a lot of coughing and hacking. But at the end of the day, the symptoms, the strain, whatever, I got through it without too much trouble. Did my quarantine within the house, much to the chagrin of my lovely wife. And me and the boy got through it. So took my test earlier today. I am free and clear again. Got through the ugly, but it means that I didn't do a lot this week. Not a lot of gaming, some video gaming, but not a lot else. And that mostly meant that I got some work done. Still ramping up on some Essence 20 coolness coming around the corner. Convention season is upon us. And we are getting real close to the Warzone Eternal Kickstarter. Just a couple of weeks away now, which again means you're going to get more Warzone content here on the show, including today. Today is a special day because 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, on the Warzone Eternal Facebook group, I posed a thread that said, please ask us your Kickstarter related questions, and we would take the 25 most liked questions pertaining to the Kickstarter. And here is one of my cats. Hi, Larfleeze. Say hi to the happy audience. My name's Larfleeze. All right, see you later, sweetheart. Sorry about that intrusion. But yeah, so we asked the fan base, we asked the Facebook group to ask us questions pertaining to the Kickstarter, or hopefully around it, so we could, Alex and I, get together and do an official AMA, an official Ask Me Anything. And so we did. And then at the end of that week, I compiled all of those questions, looked at the ones that had the most likes and the most not retweets, but re-comments, and tallied them up and put together the questionnaire for Alex and I to record, which we will do shortly. Or actually, by the time you're seeing this, it's already been done, obviously. But we wanted to just go ahead and make sure that hopefully we touch on all the topics, we get those questions answered for you, and we keep getting keeping people pumped for the upcoming Kickstarter, because it's going to be fantastic. I'm really getting excited for not only the direction of the game, but just getting to have people be able to see what's going on. And hear what we have to say about it, honestly. It's come a long way in the last 2 years since this whole project started, and I'm really excited. We're getting a lot of cool feedback from the playtesters. We're getting a lot of interesting comments and stuff about the miniatures as we start to let people see what we're doing with Tom Mason and the miniature crew. I don't know. I'm super excited. I think you guys will be too. It's really the game has come together, and if you know me, you know that I am a gamer. Yeah, I'm a professional. Yeah, I'm in the industry. Yeah, I get paid to do this, but I'm a gamer first and foremost, and I don't like to put my name on anything that I wouldn't play, and especially something like this that I'm designing. Obviously, I'm going to make a game that I want to play, which actually leads us to something cool that's happening this weekend. That Alex and I are going to get a chance to play a game on camera, and then show you guys a little bit later on a game of Warzone Eternal being played. Super pumped about that. So, without further ado, let's get past all this stuff, because I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this video that are like, Bryan, I don't care about your life. I mean, you do. I know you love me. Lots of love. But I know you want to get to the AMA, because that's what a lot of you guys have been clicking on this for. So let's go ahead and get to that. Let's get to the AMA. Let's get Alex on the line and cue up that sweet AMA footage. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special Warzone Eternal Kickstarter AMA. Before we started this, I already had I previously recorded things, so you already know what we're doing. So we're just going to get into it. We have 25 questions that were curated from the Facebook thread, and we're just going to go ahead and kick it off. Some of these, if you are a follower in the Facebook group, you will have already noticed. You'll know these questions. You may think that they are yours, and if that's the case, awesome. You got enough likes that you made it onto the list. Well, in case someone doesn't know, they know me. They've been hearing me talk about everything under the sun for years at this point. Let's say hi to Alex.
Hello? Oh, they're supposed to say hi to me. All right.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we just wait. Now that they've said hi to you, it's only polite if you say hi back.
Yep, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Happy to invade Bryan's channel.
It's not an invasion. You're an invite. It's we love having you. The channel, me and everybody else in this room.
Right, the royal.
Yeah, the royal we. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and start it off. Also, these questions do not have any particular weight to them as far as like question 25 being cooler than question 1 or anything like that. It's literally, I went through the thread and I counted up likes, and so this is where we ended up. And I anticipate there will be a lot of discussion about what happens here. So let's get into it. Question number 1. How long will the Kickstarter campaign be?
It's going to be kind of a traditional 30-day Kickstarter.
All right, it's easily known. I know that there's been a trend in some of them that have been shortening things up, but I think 30 days is a solid show, especially if you look at some of the stuff that's going on right now on Kickstarter currently. Some of those campaigns that are kind of in our same wheelhouse are running that 30-day concept, so makes sense to me.
And we're also a brand new company, right? So we want to make sure that we're there, communicating with the community, and having as much opportunity to get the product, to get the our take on Warzone out before the potential backers, the gaming community at large.
Get the word out. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yep. Question number 2. What kind of Kickstarter goal are you initially looking to reach? And what would your dream funding level? That's 2 questions, by the way, whoever put that on there. You snuck in a second question by having that comma.
So I'll give kind of a oblique answer here. I mean, our ultimate funding goal, right? The funding goal that we're most desirous of is literally the funding goal that means that we've reached as many players as we possibly can who are interested in playing, right? This is a focused Kickstarter campaign, so there isn't going to be an absolute massive onslaught of product that people could back. So there really is going to be kind of a limit on and what we expect that the Kickstarter will raise. So really, we make up for that in terms of overall funding by increasing the number of people who choose to participate in the campaign. So I can't give you really a number that this is our dream goal, right? The dream goal is enough that the game launches with some momentum, and that we've got a decent player base coming out of the Kickstarter that people can be excited to potentially have friends or people that frequent the same game store as potential also fellow backers, right? To just kind of increase the player pool.
Okay. Now that Alex has given you the business answer, I'm going to give you the Bryan Steele answer. Bazillions. I would love for this to leave a footprint that people go, holy hell, Warzone is coming back and coming back hard. So I know it's got headaches that come along with it, for people that are higher on the management chain than I am. But I would love for, I said it jokingly in a chat earlier this week. I would love for Warzone Eternal to become a wargamer household name, not like 40K or something along those lines, but the kind of thing when someone goes, I don't want a wargamer to go, what's Warzone? I don't mind if they say I don't play or I haven't played yet, but I do want them to know that it exists. That's my personal goal. Yeah, $1 billion would do that. I mean, it's hard to get that on there, all those zeros. Question number 3. Shipping options, as in non-USA distro and cost. So basically, what are we looking at as far as hopeful with shipping options, specifically non-USA, because we do have a very wide audience when it comes to who is already looking at us.
Yep. To be very clear, shipping will be at actual cost. So we will be collecting shipping fees right at the very end, right as we're kind of closing everything down. So it's reflective of what the shipping industry looks like at that current time. For those people that have import taxes or like VAT situations, those are going to be borne by the backers. All that is going to be, we're not going to estimate. We're not going to try to take a guess months before we actually ship things out and find ourselves in a bad situation because of that. Now, that all being said, we're currently in discussions with 2 different EU, UK based fulfillment organizations. Specifically with the intent of getting product to them and allowing them to ship directly to backers in the EU and UK. Yeah, I mean, specifically, we realize that's not going to help with things like the fact that the prices in the Kickstarter are not inclusive of VAT, right? So that's on top of it. But making sure that we're not asking backers to pay for shipping from the US to overseas destinations.
Awesome. Number 4 is a tricky one. What will come inside the Kickstarter boxed sets? You and I talked a little bit about this, and this is an important question. So for people who are just kind of like only sort of half listening, perk up.
All right. So the box sets in Warzone Eternal, with the exception of the Razid box set or box sets that have a very focused set of components in it, the rest of the box sets will typically allow the creation of models from 2 different unit types in the game, along with all the components necessary, right? So if you, and I know we're going to talk in a second about what some of those dual unit box sets look like, but let's look at Imperial, because a lot of people have seen the figures from that. Mm. The Imperial box set, for instance, will allow you to build Blood Berets or Golden Lions, both models that are basic standard troopers, but then also things like light machine guns or RPGs or chain rippers, shotguns, plasma carbines. Not every single weapon under the sun, but all of the weapon options that Bryan has designed in that unit is capable of taking in the game.
Awesome.
So the box set really allows you to build a number of different models. So it's a modular box set, typically single piece bodies, but then separate heads, separate arms with weapons, oftentimes separate pauldrons or shoulder pads, not always. So all of those, usually 5 models. There be some variations in that depending on certain units. Bases for those. And then cards, so actual unit cards. So each base unit type and each variation or specialist, like a sniper or a heavy machine gun support unit, will have a dedicated card as well. So on those cards, you'll have the stat lines for the model, the stat lines for the weapons, and then whatever special abilities they have will be in kind of condensed form on the flip side of the card. So really the cards become your go-to reference for the units in the game. And so that's the content of a box set.
And I can say, for the purposes of the stat cards, the condensed verbiage for the special rules, there are very few special rules that have more than like a line worth of text or 2
right
anyway. So it'll be very rare that you're not going to get the full verbiage, because most of the time it'll fit.
Yep.
Excuse me. All right. Number 5. You implied there would be no stretch goals. What comes out of a better than suspected funding level? So if we do get to my $1 billion, what should we, or what should the fans and the backers expect? Because we've said that there should be no stretch goals, but what if things go absolutely gangbusters and we find out that some random, super rich uncle has decided that he's into Warzone and wants to back us at the $1 bazillion level?
Yeah. So what I'd say is that we're reserving the right to introduce stretch goals, but we're walking into this with absolutely none of them promised or anticipated. And part of that, right, there's the sense of making sure that you're not over promising or over committing, right, that you're stretching
Absolutely.
your resources too thin. The other thing, though, and I've been absolutely insistent on this, and we'll see if ultimately this was the smart approach, but again, we're a brand new company. Nobody has any reason to believe one way or another that we're going to fulfill, that we're not going to fulfill, that the Kickstarter is going to fund, right? There's a lot of questions about who we are. So the goal is to make sure that our production promises are manageable, right? When we finish this Kickstarter, our intention is to be able to turn to our production partner and say, these are the final STL files, start making those master molds, right? I mean, we don't want there to be a situation where we have to, in 6 months, tell the backers, we're gonna have to push off fulfillment because we haven't finished sculpting the 5 new units that we promised you.
Awesome.
Now I realize, right, that people would love this to make $1 bazillion and unleash every single unit that Warzone has ever seen before, but there's no way that even a company significantly larger than us could do that and still deliver in a time that met backers' desires, right? We want these models in backers' hands as quickly as possible so that they can start playing the game. And we can only do that if we make sure that we know what our production requirements are when we start the Kickstarter and when we end the Kickstarter.
Well, and it's not sustainable for a small company or a big company. We've seen big companies that give you everything out of the gate, and then 2 years later we have problems with some factions get a little more attention than others, and
Right.
and I get that. I absolutely understand it. Again, I know, and people who've listened to me talk, I want to be able to give as much as I can, but I also want the game to survive. I want it to thrive and continue to grow. And if everybody has everything coming out of the gate, it's got nowhere to go. And that's the whole point of this. Is we've said this since the very beginning. The first time that we said anything about this is that we want this game to grow, not just be like a board game splash.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
All right. Will there be different tiers of varying starting levels for the factions?
So if we're talking about varying tiers of pledges in the Kickstarter, that yes. So we have, I think it's 5. And what we're looking at is you can pick up a copy of the rule book. You can pick up a copy of the rule book and a single unit box. There is the Dark Legion. Elgaroth will have a couple box sets to start with. So there's a Dark Legion pledge where you can get all the Elgaroth sets. There's an all-in pledge, which is one of everything, plus a rule book. And then all the units that we're producing are available as additional add-ons that you can add on to whatever pledge level you pick. So the pledge level literally is just click this to get an easy starting point, and then add on whatever else you're interested in, so that you've decided you want multiple copies of a unit set for capital, right, to start out with. Then you can do it that way. So we'll be making use of Backer Kit for pledge management. So it's a really great tool, right, for managing the selection of exactly what your rewards are, both that you pledge during the Kickstarter as well as after the Kickstarter concludes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. That was number 6. Number 7 is will there be all right, let's try that again. Will there be single model pledges? Like someone's like, I'm not necessarily into the game, but I want to get a Blood Beret.
There will not be, and that's partially a production limitation.
Okay.
Our caster is producing these at the unit level. There's also the issue that since these aren't single pose models, there is no just single Blood Beret, right? It would, for instance, if we were to do something like that, it would be us choosing, well, this person's going to get this random selection of components.
Gotcha.
Like a Blood Beret.
Just doesn't work out that way for them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sense. So it's very much backing the units will come at the unit box set level.
Okay. Awesome. And then number 8, will we see faction merch like dice, templates, counters, etc.?
We are, as part of the Kickstarter, we will have a counter set. Our buddies at Muson Minis are making, high-end, full-color acrylic counters. And so there will be a basic set that's available, that'll mark your pinned counters and your reaction tokens, but will generally be kind of generic, right, to the game. There might be a possibility that faction-specific objective counters may appear at some point in the Kickstarter. Not a stretch goal, but yeah. So we do have we do have some plans for that, and whether that happens in the Kickstarter or it's something that Muson Minis produces after the Kickstarter as part of just regularly supporting the game, absolutely.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Now I will note that the question asked about templates too. Now, obviously, people who have not, when they're watching this, a lot of these people will not have seen the game played yet. So Warzone Eternal does not require you to have templates. Just as a rules design choice, we did not want to have you must have these templates to play. Now, again, like Alex said, that Muson could choose to make some cool templates that make things easier on you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's necessary for gameplay. Just to put that out there, so don't think that we skipped over that part of the question. Number 9, what are the starting dual boxes? This is very similar to an earlier question where we talked about what comes in the boxes, but I think I get the impression that people want to know what those starting, considering another thread that popped up in the Facebook group just today, I get the impression that people want to know what's in that first wave. Does Alex want to share?
Sure. Yeah, no, might as well. So let's see, we'll do an alphabetical order. So Bauhaus is going to have Venusian Rangers and Blitzers. Capital will have Freemarines and Sunset Strikers. Cybertronic has Chauciers and Mirrormen. Imperial has Blood Berets and Golden Lions. Mishima has Hatamoto and Shinobi. And then our first Dark Legion Apostle, Elgaroth, will have an Undead Legionnaire box set, which is just Undead Legionnaires. And there will actually be 6 models in that box set to kind of compensate for the fact that there's not as many components. There will be a Necromutant / Centurion box set. And then there is a Razid box set that includes all 3 classic weapon options for that creature.
Yeah. Which, for the people who are old fans, that is a Nashgaroth heavy machine gun,
a Hellblaster,
yep, launcher, and an Ashnagaroth heavy machine gun as well. Which people were already asking, because we've seen, there's now been pictures out of the one with the Nazgaroth, and there's the one that has we've seen the Hellblaster. No one has seen the Ashnagaroth yet. So
yeah, I think actually Elfie might have painted one with an Ashnagaroth.
Was that?
I think we've gotten all 3 out there. Okay. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I think we've gotten 3 out there. Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Number 10. What is the general expectation to ship product after the campaign succeeds? So I think that they're asking a rough estimate of when we think that the boxes will start flinging out to people.
Right. So we've looked at what other Kickstarters do and what the kind of the standard expectations are. So we're putting in the Kickstarter that our plan is April of next year. But again, that's to make sure that we're promising a delivery time that is absolutely reasonable, even if we hit hiccups.
Okay.
The goal is to, as I said, when this Kickstarter is done, we should have final STL files, the rule book. Most of the new art has already been commissioned. It's generally been written. So we're looking at editing phase of the rule book, editing the cards, and then actually starting to produce the molds for the figures.
Awesome.
All of those things should be able to happen, as early summer.
Very cool.
As fast as we're able to produce, right, the faster we're able to get this in the hands of people.
Excellent. Where are we at? Number 12. Will the Kickstarter rulebook have lore, or will there be separate lore media like novels, faction books, comic books, etc.?
So the core rulebook will have lore. It's important for us to make sure that the people that are new to Warzone have some way of accessing the background, understanding why the factions are different, why the Dark Legion is this overarching menace in the solar system. So yeah, there will be kind of high level background lore that describes what's happened prior. Individual faction lore, so people can get some sense of what their faction is about. And then we have a bunch of short stories that are going to be scattered throughout the book, kind of helping you get immersed in the setting.
Which I believe we posted 2 of them on the Facebook group, but we left them as cliffhangers. We didn't give them the endings.
That's right.
So you guys will get
right.
If you dig a little deeper in the Facebook group and find those, you get to read through them and then get frustrated until the book comes out to get the end.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I think this is also a good point too, Brian, since we're talking about the book. I don't know if there's another question about this later, so I might be jumping the gun. But we've also engaged a number of partners for translation services. And while we're not going to have print rule books in non-English languages as part of the Kickstarter, we have every intention of having they probably won't include the lore section, but full translations of all of the rules portions of the core rulebook available as PDFs as quickly as we can. I mean, at the same time that we send the final file to the printer for the print version, we're sending the manuscript for the core rules to our translation partners.
Awesome.
So we have every intention of trying to get this in, to make this as accessible as possible, as quickly as possible.
Do we know? I don't even know if it's on there. If we comes up to it later, we'll pass it up. Do we know what languages we're looking at so far?
So we've already engaged. We've already started conversations. Some of the conversations are much further than others. But the goal is French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Polish.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, cool.
Now,
cool.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. So we're going to do it as quickly as possible. We just ask that people recognize the level of effort there and be patient with us as we do so.
Question 13, officially at the halfway point. Will the models be hard or soft Siocast? Now, I know a video recently came out on another channel that was talking about the pluses and minuses of Siocast, and they spent a lot of time talking about how the soft Siocast is, very difficult to work with, that sort of thing. But then the hard was more like traditional resin, and you had to be careful with it. So, where are we falling into that?
So that's actually a decision that we have not made with our production partner yet. Okay. The one thing I can say is that the partner we're working with has been using Siocast to produce miniatures in the United States longer than just about any other US based manufacturer. So this is an organization that has a ton of experience with it. And the thing is that the hard Siocast really kind of premiered or debuted, if not at Adepticon, around the same time. So companies that have been using Siocast have been using soft Siocast, quote unquote soft Siocast, for a couple of years now, right? And so whether people recognize that that's what they were using or not, that material has been out there. So I'd say at this point right now that that's actually probably the more well-known and understood material. Now, that being said, we're not producing right now, so we'll be making a kind of a game time decision as to the material which one of the two materials we're using.
Okay, cool. Number 14, will we see battle videos and gameplay demos for new players? I assume they mean it as part of the Kickstarter campaign, like on the Kickstarter website, that kind of thing.
Actually, this guy that I'm talking to right now, he and I are going to be filming a battle report this weekend. So yes, face to face, across the table, and the intention is to have that battle report viewable as a video on the linked off of the Kickstarter campaign. And then after that, we want to continue engaging with the community by doing those kind of things.
Awesome. Number 15, we actually mentioned this earlier. Will there be an all-in option to get one of everything? And you've already said yes. So for the people who are just itching to be like, yes, I'm going to support this, click hit button. This question actually, when I was transcribing stuff down, actually I went and did some Kickstarter research to see who else has done this. And it is, will there be a Kickstarter backer map to help find fellow fans? I had not really seen anybody, like I was looking through that and I couldn't find anybody who had done that before, but there are a bunch of links to Google, like a Google archive map, where basically someone could put their, you put the link to the Google map in the comments of the Kickstarter, like in the like one of the first comments, and it says, once you've backed us, go to this link and put your pin in the thing. And
okay.
So I think that's kind of it's a neat idea, and it's actually, I mean, it's something that could get out of hand if people are like, I want to put 50 push pins in this, but I didn't really think that I mean, that's something that you don't necessarily have to do. I mean, it's something that I could probably even set up once the Kickstarter gets going, since it's just an outside link. But I actually glad someone asked that, because I kind of wanted your opinion on it. Is what do you think about kind of get it? Not to mention, it's a decent point of data for us to know, where some of these
sure.
backer surges are coming from.
Yeah, I think anything that we can do to help people find each other to play the game, I think that's a valuable addition. Um, when you first posed the question, what I was curious about is if they were asking whether we were going to populate that, and I could imagine that's probably something we couldn't do simply because of privacy considerations,
exactly.
right? We couldn't harvest the Kickstarter backer information and then make that information public. So it would definitely have to be a voluntary thing that backers would choose to participate in. But yeah, I can't see any downside to setting something up so that people can identify where like-minded or like-interested people reside.
Awesome. Reside. I see what you did there. It's like my American pronunciation of reside. All right. So, what is the general unit roadmap for after the Kickstarter campaign? So this question came up several times individually. People ask this question, use that same term over and over again. Is what's the roadmap? What's the roadmap? So I think they're kind of asking where we think we're going to take things post wave one.
Yep. So I think that the first goal, right, is to make sure that each faction has at least one more option, right? So with the core game, as we launch it, right, there's enough stuff there. There's enough variety there for players to not have, and they're not going to pick like a single composition of their force and be stuck with that, right? There's enough specialist options, 2 different unit types, but the desire is to, with one more similarly structured unit box, each faction becomes significantly more diverse in their range of options. So Bryan, you've already started statting out just about every single Warzone unit that ever existed in first edition Warzone, and I think a few from second edition.
I got a little fevered about wanting to see some of these hit the table.
So I think the plan will be to either hit a new unit box for each of the 6 core factions, or something else that increases variety. So maybe that becomes, we produce a leader, right, or one of the various special characters, or a box set of special characters for each faction. But the other thing, and I know we've heard a lot of people ask about this, the very first thing that we are doing after we get Warzone Eternal launched and we've got these factions released is produce a dual unit box set for Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right. We've got Elgroth, we've got the corporations. We absolutely want Brotherhood players to have something similar that they can put on the table. So that's going to be as soon as we can, probably as we're working our way through production and fulfillment of Warzone Eternal, we will already be sculpting and working towards having that Brotherhood unit available. Obviously, we cannot start producing new product before we've gotten the backers the product they backed as part of the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen right prior, but as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah. Number 18, will there be a rules PDF released to test the game during the Kickstarter?
So there will be a very short, condensed summary of the rules. I think you'd probably be hard pressed to really use it to play the rules, to play a game fully, but it will lay out what the action, or what the turn phases look like, what sort of actions and reactions are available to models, when they can use those things, and we'll include a sample stat line in there as well, so people can get some sense of what does a unit look like. So not a fully playable version of the rules, but an overview of the rules that will give people a very clear idea of how the game plays.
Okay, that's very cool. Number 19, and this one I can highlight. This was the third. I actually put a little note on my thing. This was the third liked option. So there's a lot of people that wanted to know about this particularly. Will there be a retailer pledge option? Now, I know you and I talked about this. So again, people perk up. This is important. If you've got a local store that wants to be involved, this is an important question.
Yep. So as part of the actual listed pledges in the Kickstarter, there is not a retailer pledge level. We've got specific instructions in there that if you are a retailer and you're interested, please contact us and we can discuss what options are available. And the primary reason we're doing that is because we are fulfilling the Kickstarter, the models, the books and everything. We're providing those products, right? We're not providing retail shelf ready packaging. That's another level of investment into product that's not actually relevant to Kickstarter backers, right? So we've talked to a few retailers already about this specific scenario, and some of them are still interested, right? They understand what it is. They know that they can put it on the shelf and they can market in such a way that it's clear what it is to customers. But we don't want any retailers backing this, getting the product and saying, wait a minute, I'm looking for, the full color graphics on the box set here to entice customers. And there isn't that. So there is not a formal retailer pledge. And that's because if there are interested retailers, we want to be able to talk to them about what it is exactly that we're producing and whether or not that makes sense for their situation.
Cool. Awesome. So hope you guys were listening. Number 20, you mentioned wanting to have examples of every model in the Kickstarter painted to show off. Is that still true?
That is still the objective. I think a lot of you, if you frequent the forum or the Facebook page, you've seen the painted models that have been posted by the various painters that we're working with. We absolutely intend to try to do that. There's still, we've got a couple weeks left. We're still cranking through paint jobs. So there's a possibility that some of those models will receive painted versions as updates during the course of the Kickstarter. But ideally, we start the Kickstarter with a painted physical example of every or physical representation of each unit. Because obviously there are 5 models in the box sets, infinite customizability. So we're only showing 2 painted versions of the 2 units that come out of the box set. But so that's the goal by the Kickstarter launch. The absolute guarantee is that the Kickstarter will not end without people having seen painted versions of all of the unit types that we're launching with.
Very, very cool. Question 21. How active will you guys be in the comments section of the Kickstarter? Apparently it's been a big thing where some Kickstarters are kind of fire and forget when it comes to the corporate, backing and conversation. I will partially answer this only because I live in my studio and I am attached to my phone and tethered to my computer at all times. I will be very active. While there will be 1 week right in the middle of the Kickstarter where I will be on a cruise ship in the middle of the Atlantic, during that time I probably won't be as active. But aside from then, I will be in those comments chit-chatting and answering questions that I can and just kind of keeping the party going. I want you guys to be able to tell people what's going on and keep things moving. And honestly, occasionally questions pop up that we may not have thought about, and I might need to bug Alex and go, this guy wants to give us $500 million. How do we do that? Do we take gold bullion? That's what I'm gonna have to deal with.
Yep. Well, and I can also say that we have a Kickstarter marketing manager, and she will be assisting us in responding to comments as well. So we do not intend to just ignore the comment section. Now, I've been part of Kickstarters before. I've seen the number of comments that can be posted. I can't guarantee that we're going to be immediately responsive to everybody's comments or see every comment that comes across. But yeah, between Bryan, our marketing manager, myself, we hopefully have enough eyeballs to make sure that questions don't go unanswered.
Awesome. Great answer, us. Question 22. How many points can this one? Only reason I included this because they put Kickstarter in the thing, and I think it's an interesting question to answer. How many points can you field with one of the Kickstarter faction boxes? Now, I'm gonna, as the rules dude, I'm gonna step in here and let you guys know, because you have not seen this game played yet, maybe, depending on when you're watching this video. Our points system on how we build things are not like 40K. It's not like Infinity. Frankly, it's not like anything that you've played before on purpose. So it's not a point value of like 753 points, or a game is 2,000 points. Because there's actually been people in the Facebook group that have mentioned, the last version of Warzone, 1,500 points was standard or something like that. In Warzone Eternal, if you were to play a 1,500 point game, that would fill my house with minis. We are a much, much more streamlined purchasing system when it comes to buying models. Most models, dramatically across the system, are 1 point. So keep that in mind. So that question is not answerable like you think it is. We're not going to look at you and say the average game 750 points, because that's still an insane amount of models. Like ridiculous. That's not even feasible. That's the kind of product line that we have. Like that's not going to happen. But to get you an idea of what a 750 point game at 40K is, it's a couple of squads, that sort of thing. For us, that's like a 20 point game. So that's what right. There's no good point of reference for you guys right now, but that question made me laugh, because my first thought was, these people are going to see these point values and go, what do you mean this unit box is possibly a 5/3 unit? And we're going to go, this is why. So stay with us. There's a method to our madness, and it absolutely, and it's not even just Mawawahe madness. That's real madness. I wanted to be able to answer that question, because I do think that there's going to be a little bit of sticker shock when people see the cost of minis, and they're going to think that this skirmish game that we've promised is going to be a small skirmish style game. They're going to see the point values, and they're going to be a little like, wait, I don't get it. Small points on purpose. Minuscule points on purpose, actually. Question 23. Will a backer need more than one starter box to field a decent force?
Yes. So the box sets they're unit boxes, right? They make for a decent starter to get into the game, but they're just the box sets for those two units. So as Bryan noted, right, the 20 points is kind of a good sized game for players who know what they're doing. We're recommending 10-point games or even fewer for people that are just learning the game. So on average, as Bryan suggested, some of these box sets will build about 5 points of models. So on average, we'd recommend that people, if to start out with, 2 box sets or 2 copies would probably be a good idea. The other reason it's a good idea is because in just one box set, you can't build all of the options that box set allows.
You have the ability to build all of them, but not all at the same time.
Correct. Yeah, I think on average, each unit type has 4, including a basic trooper and then 3 specialists typically. So you're looking at, out of each box set, there are 8 different profiles you can build. And you're going to want multiple versions of a basic blood beret or a basic free marine, right? Because you still want and need basic troopers. It's not all about, elite specialists and snipers and demolitions experts. So you're probably going to want 2 just to get to a point where you've got a variety of models that represent the variety of different units and unit specialists you can take.
Well, and with the exception of the Undead Legionnaires and Necromutants, all of these boxes also give you an opportunity to field 2 different types of troops. So you're going to be looking at unless you're like, I'm dead set, I don't need Sunset Strikers ever. Then you could probably get away with just doing 2 boxes full of Free Marines and be like, I'm good to go. But the whole point of these initial Kickstarter unit boxes, these Wave 1 boxes, is to give you options. A good we actually said before the video even started is that these are not starter boxes, these are good starts to your force. And that's the whole point of this Kickstarter, is to get this game off the ground so you guys can start building, start playing, start painting if you're into that. Obviously it's not a requirement. So I think my 2 cents on that question is a decent force. It just depends on how big you're playing. If you really are just getting your feet wet, this is your first game, you really just want to try to see how the engine works, to see how things play, then yeah, 1 box is going to be fine. Yeah, you can totally just roll around and give the game a test. If you want to start building the faction up, start building your different options, you're probably going to want to grab a couple of boxes.
The box sets, there's only 2 box sets in the core game, or the core release for the Kickstarter, that really don't serve as a starting point for your force, and that is the Undead Legionnaires and the Razid, right? The Necromutant / Centurion box set really is the core, ground unit for Elgaroth.
Yeah. Question 24. How do you plan to raise awareness and publicity for the Kickstarter? Are there any game industry influencers already on board? Yeah. This guy. And everybody who we tell. I already have talked to several of my friends in the industry. We are definitely going to be, screaming, at the top of our dark citadels to try and get people to pay attention to the Kickstarter. Obviously, we will also need you guys a lot for that. Because one of the best ways, hands down, the best ways to get into a smaller game is when you find out that your friends are playing. And so I'll let Alex, finish up if there's any official plans, but that's my thing is it's going to be a lot of talking. It's going to be a lot of, I'm going to do a bunch of videos on this channel or on my channel. And if I can get a chance to jump on podcasts and things, I have never met a microphone I didn't like. So expect to hear a lot from different directions, and tell people, anybody that's into sci-fi miniature games or minis games in general, if they want to start branching out, let's get eyes on it. That's what I'm going to say. Alex?
Yeah, and I mean, we've already started a dedicated advertising campaign. So, some people may have seen ads starting to pop up in various social media sites. So, I mean, we obviously, again, small company, we don't have an infinite advertising budget, but we are pursuing traditional routes like that. And then, as Bryan has mentioned, we've got friends in the industry, people that we know, some that you guys probably know or watch on YouTube. And so we're going to talk to them and see what kind of additional exposure we can get through channels like that. The one thing I'd say, right, is we're tremendously, excited by the fact that we're still 2.5 weeks out from the Kickstarter, and we've got better than 1,000 people on Kickstarter who have already followed to receive notification. So whatever amount of word of mouth or level of advertising we've already done, it's starting to build some momentum, and that's great. So but we don't plan on just allowing that to end. We'll continue advertising through the Kickstarter. We'll be making use of some of the other advertising platforms that are specifically tailored to talking about active Kickstarters, and we'll just see how far we can go.
And not on any official level or anything, but if you happen to get any of those emails about the rich uncle in Dubai or anything, send them the link. Just respond to that email with the link and be like, you know what, I can't take your millions, but these guys can. Question 25. Speaking of millions, now this question, we kind of tied it back a little bit, but I think it's more because of it's the fan interaction aspect. They asked if are you taking suggestions for cool stretch goal options when this obviously takes off and makes millions? Uh, so I think the question poser, I believe, is asking in the comment sections in the during the campaign, if we see a a grassroots movement to get something to happen as a stretch goal, are we entertaining that idea?
So, I mean, I would go back to our earlier position of we're choosing not to do stretch goals specifically to try to get you the backer your stuff as quickly as possible. Now that being said, right, we're developing this game with a bunch of people who love Warzone and are nostalgic for it, and we're trying to create a game cater to a crowd that's nostalgic for Warzone and has a love for Warzone, and so that community is of course going to have ideas of what we should do, what new units we should introduce. And so I'm not going to categorically say no, we will never do a stretch goal for a unit that everybody is saying that they want to see. What I would say is everyone who backs the Kickstarter needs to understand that anything that we do beyond the core releases, that is something that is going to take a level of additional production effort that we are not planning for right now, and therefore will delay the release of that thing, right? And so if the community is very much like we really need to see our Fury Elite Guard, and we will back it in massive numbers, and it gets to the point where we just recognize, okay, we got to do this. Don't expect them to be delivered at the same time that we deliver your Free Marines.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. Well, that was the 25 questions that I had. Do we have anything before we cut this off and let these people get back to whatever they're doing after you see my face again for the outro of the video? Is there anything you wanted to kind of add in, just kind of general statements or sentiment before? Because this, aside from the battle report or the battle game, the vid that we're doing, this will be one of the last times that they get a chance to see you before the Kickstarter jumps off. So,
no, I mean, I think I've said this a bunch of times before whenever I've been on a channel or a video, and so I realize that people probably have heard this, and it's I'm just beating a dead horse here, but no, I mean, the number of people in the Facebook group, the number of people that are following us on the Kickstarter page, it suggests right there are people who have an interest here and they're supportive of what we're doing, and we really appreciate that, right? I mean, I appreciate it immensely, right? The entire reason that I went down the path of looking to acquire the license and do something with it is because I love this game and this world to a degree that's probably not healthy, and so it's a passion project, right? This isn't and it never has been an attempt by me to look at and say, well, what's this existing property that's not being leveraged right now, and can I bring it back and try to make a buck off of it? I mean, obviously we want this to be successful, but I'm doing this because I am immensely passionate about it. And so to have people coming along and supporting that, and showing their interest in what we're doing, it's been the thing that's continued to catalyze the work that we've done, and so I really appreciate that. And so so to the extent that this is kind of us talking to the community, I just wanted to be really clear that we've really appreciated the people who have been supportive of the work that we're doing, and want to see us succeed. And we really hope that we produce a product that's really cool when it shows up on people's doorsteps.
I'll second pretty much everything that Alex has already said, with the added benefit of, as someone who has been at the helm of a popular, I would still call it an independent miniature game, despite the fact that it had a huge company behind it. It was still a smaller audience than what a lot of people were used to, a lot of companies and stuff would back. As someone who's been at the head of one of those before, I won't lie, I absolutely miss the feeling of a community backing the game that I'm creating, and that playing myself, even if I'm terrible at it, is one of those kind of life and career affirming moments. So for me personally, I know people have commented before. They're always like, well, Bryan seems so passionate about games. I really I see this as someone who's been gaming for 30 plus years, and in the industry for 20 of it. I see a lot of promise in the game that we've created, in the miniatures that are being produced, and definitely in the community that is already. I mean, the game hasn't even been like talked about openly, officially. To the Facebook group is still by permission only. Like, it's not even an open group, and the community is already turned into something that I'm very proud to say that I'm part of, and I look forward to seeing where this goes. I know that I've got rose tinted glasses about a lot of things, and I think I can't wait to see fancy box sets with Bio Giants on store shelves, but I think we can get there. And more than anything, it's definitely going to take you guys, you viewers, you fans, you players. It's going to take a lot of your help to get us there. Because as Alex said, Resnova is new. This is a new company. Yeah, the license is not new, but it's a new game. It is a new company, and it is a new chance to be at the ground floor of something super awesome. So that's what I would say. That's my tag, is that I remember what we did in just a few short years with another game, and I think that this could go absolutely further, because whereas I was picking up a flag that had fallen before, this is different. I was handed a flag from the beginning. Alex has been there with me since the first time we stepped off the starting line with this. And he brought me on board to make this a thing, and I want to make this a thing. So that's my question 26. Is if any of you have believed anything that I've ever said about games, this is going to be one that you want to watch, and it's one that you want to play. Aside from that, that's it, guys. So let's get to you get to see me with the previously recorded outro. And if you've made it all the way through this AMA and you're that big of a fan, stick around to the end of the outro, because I show something off. So you've seen it. It's fine. All right. I'll see you guys later. Alex, always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was already over. I know, I'm hamming it up for the camera. But that was awesome. And I really, really do hope that you guys will come to the Facebook page. You'll join up. You will go to the Kickstarter link, which I've got in the video, the description of this video. Go to that Kickstarter link. Get the reminder. Now, it is going to drop on May 17th. That is going to be the start date. When that happens, I hope we will get all of your guys' attention. And I know I've harped on this before in previous episodes about Kickstarter and how crowdfunding works, is please, please, please do not wait to see if it's going to fund to try and back it. Remember, you're not out anything. You are not out any money if it doesn't fund. So why not get it there? And then you can make a decision on just how much you're going to put in. Help us get to that awesome goal. And again, I mean, I know it's a couple weeks from now, so it's not a big deal, but get on that reminder. Let us remind you, hey, it's going to happen. And let's facilitate making this game into something amazing. Because like I said in that AMA, we've got plans. We've got lots of plans. I've got lots of plans of things that I want to do with this game, and that Alex will let me do with this game if we make enough money. So let's see this thing succeed. And especially from my household to yours right now, Be safe. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated. Get boosted. It's not fun when you get the Rona. Let me tell you. I can tell you this firsthand at this point. But yeah, be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. And, do me a big favor. A big favor. A big favor. Do me a big favor. Have some fun and play some games. We'll see you in a week with a very, very cool unboxing for next week from one of my friends' companies.